Her colossal truck kept faltering, draining every last cent she possessed. Stranded on a barren road with no inkling why her vehicle repeatedly failed, Emily Harper's existence was unraveling. Then, a stranger in a modest diner unveiled a revelation so astonishing it reshaped all she understood, transforming her struggle for survival into a crusade against treachery and greed. Press like and share where you're watching from. Your encouragement fuels more captivating tales. Let's begin. Emily Harper's massive truck shuddered fiercely before halting abruptly just beyond the dim neon glow of Milltown's sole diner. A biting wind swirled dust across the cracked pavement as she sat behind the wheel, teeth clenched, staring at the blinking dashboard lights like a captive glaring at prison bars. This marked the fifth breakdown in under 3 weeks, each repair bill devouring more of her dwindling savings. The truck was meant to be her salvation, not a relentless sap on her spirit and finances. Emily wiped sweat from her brow despite the chill, vowing not to break. Not after losing her husband in a tragic wreck 3 years ago, nor after countless nights on the road where loneliness crept in like a creeping poison. This rig embodied her future, or whatever remained of it. The diner's flickering sign beckoned, a faint beacon in the deepening dusk. Emily switched off the engine and stepped down, boots crunching gravel with a weary thud. Inside, warmth enveloped her like a comforting embrace. The aroma of strong coffee and sizzling eggs wrapped around her, a solace she hadn't realized she craved. Clara Evans, the diner's server, glanced up from her counter duties and offered a tired yet heartfelt smile. "Tough day, Emily?" Emily nodded faintly and sank into a booth by the window, gazing at her truck parked beneath a rusty street lamp, its shadow stretched and jagged like her fading hopes. Moments later, the door swung open, ushering in a chilly gust and a man who seemed out of place yet determined to belong. Ethan Brooks, once a Michelin star chef who'd abandoned Boston's high-stakes dining world, paused at the entrance. His once crisp chef's coat was rumpled beneath a worn leather jacket, his eyes carrying a flicker of something lost, a man seeking a second chance. Ethan ordered a plain coffee and settled at the counter, his gaze subtly drawn to Emily. Her quiet resolve, her unspoken defeat, struck a deep chord within him. As Emily's phone vibrated in her pocket, she hesitated before checking the screen. Another repair invoice, costlier than the last, made her heart sink. Unnoticed, Ethan's keen eyes narrowed. He sensed this wasn't mere misfortune. Something was gravely wrong with Emily's truck, and its hidden truth was about to unravel. The sun rose slowly over Milltown, casting a pale glow through the diner's windows. Emily sat in her usual booth, nursing a second cup of dark coffee. Her eyes kept flicking to her phone, which buzzed again with another message from the repair shop, an estimate that twisted her gut. Her truck, her lifeline, was bleeding her dry with no end in sight. Clara approached with a plate of eggs and bacon, setting it down gently and leaning in, voice hushed. "Emily, I know you cherish that truck. But is it worth this torment? You don't have to face it alone." Emily's jaw stiffened. "It's not just a truck. It's my future, the last piece of my husband's dream." Her voice wavered for a moment, but she steadied herself. "I'll find a way to fix it." Across the room, Ethan stirred his coffee, watching silently. His own life had spiraled from elite kitchens to this remote diner, and Emily's fierce resilience mirrored his own shattered ambitions. That afternoon, Emily was under her truck's hood, the midday sun scorching her back as she inspected the engine. Ethan approached cautiously, wiping grimy hands on his jacket. "Need a hand?" he offered. Emily looked up, surprised but open to help. "If you think you can." Though no mechanic, Ethan's chef's precision noticed details. Wires too neatly tucked, bolts freshly turned, parts slightly mismatched. "This isn't normal wear," he murmured. "Someone's tampering with your truck." Emily stared, disbelief flooding her face. Sabotage? The notion seemed too wild to grasp. That evening, in the diner's warm glow, Emily, Ethan, and Clara gathered over cups of coffee. Clara spoke softly of rumors about the local mechanic, Greg Mason, a man with a dubious reputation for quick fixes that cost truckers dearly in the long run. Emily felt a spark of hope, the first in weeks. With Ethan and Clara by her side, she might fight back. Outside, the night deepened, the town's calm facade hiding secrets waiting to be uncovered. Emily's battle was only beginning. The next morning, Emily stepped into the diner with a mix of dread and determination. The chilly breeze carried whispers of the town's quiet gossip, but the diner's warmth offered a fragile sanctuary. Ethan was behind the counter, flipping pancakes with deft hands despite weary eyes. "Morning," he said, then added with a faint smile, "I did some digging last night." Emily's curiosity piqued. "What did you find?" Ethan wiped his hands and pulled a crumpled note from his jacket. "There's a mechanic, Greg Mason. Seems friendly on the surface, but records don't add up. Truckers talk of his repairs failing fast, using subpar parts." Emily's stomach knotted. She'd suspected something, but confirmation hit like a blow. Clara joined them, carrying fresh coffee and a worried look. "I overheard customers mention Greg's ties to local suppliers pushing faulty parts, keeping truckers broke and desperate." Emily clenched her fist. "He's sabotaging my truck to keep me paying. I can't believe someone in this town would do this." Ethan nodded grimly. "It's ugly, but real. We need proof." They devised a plan. Ethan, sharp from years observing details as a chef, volunteered to document the truck's condition after each repair visit. Clara offered to keep an ear out for suspicious chatter. Emily vowed to stay vigilant, noting every odd noise or unexplained failure. Days turned into a week, their quiet investigation slowly piecing together a puzzle. Emily's truck kept failing at the worst moments, on lonely highways, in freezing rain. Ethan's photos revealed mismatched parts and sloppy fixes. Clara's gossip turned into names and dates. One evening, under the diner's flickering lights, Emily's phone rang with a blocked caller ID. "Hello," she answered warily. A distorted voice whispered, "Stop digging, Emily. You don't want the truth." Her heart pounded, the stakes now higher than ever. The call cast a cold shadow over Emily's thoughts. Whoever was behind this didn't want her uncovering the truth, but she refused to back down. It fueled a fierce resolve to protect her livelihood and expose the corruption. That night, at the diner, Emily, Ethan, and Clara spread out their growing evidence. Photos, notes, and voice recordings. Each piece revealed a story of deceit and greed carefully masked by Greg and his supplier. Ethan pointed to a photo of a rusty, ill-fitting brake line. "This shouldn't be in a truck this new." Clara frowned. "If it fails on the road, Emily could be seriously hurt." Emily's jaw tightened. "It's not just about me. Greg's ruining other truckers' lives too." They decided to take their findings to Sheriff Collins, a man reputed to be fair but cautious about small-town scandals. He listened carefully, flipping through their evidence. "If what you say is true, this could go deeper than sabotage, but you'll need proof beyond suspicion. I can help set up surveillance at Greg's shop. Stay safe." Days later, hidden cameras captured footage that made Emily's blood boil. Greg deliberately loosened bolts, swapped genuine parts with cheap knockoffs, and spoke on the phone about perpetuating the cycle. One afternoon, Emily's phone buzzed with a text. "Stop now, or there will be consequences." Fear mingled with anger, but Emily's spirit remained unbroken. She called Ethan and Clara immediately. "They're trying to scare me, but we're closer than ever." The diner felt different now, not just a place for meals, but a battleground where courage, friendship, and justice intertwined. Ethan began experimenting with a new menu inspired by local ingredients, quietly bringing hope to the struggling community. Clara's unwavering support kept Emily grounded. Then came the day when Sheriff Collins, with a team, raided Greg's shop. The town held its breath. Emily watched from the diner's window, heart pounding as evidence was seized. Greg's scheme was unraveling. A victory not just for her, but for everyone cheated by greed. The mechanic's arrest rippled through Milltown like a thunderclap. For years, his quiet sabotage had drained the community's hard-earned money and trust. Now the truth was out, and justice was catching up. Emily stood outside the diner, breathing in the crisp morning air, feeling the weight of weeks of fear and struggle begin to lift. Ethan joined her, a hopeful smile replacing his usual weariness. "Looks like you're free to hit the road without worry," he said, nudging her gently. Emily smiled back, but her mind was already racing ahead. The ordeal had changed her, not just as a trucker, but as someone who'd discovered strength in unexpected allies. A surprising offer came. The businessman behind the faulty parts reached out, proposing Emily consult on honest trucking practices, a chance to rebuild what had been broken. Ethan, once fleeing the pressures of Boston, took over the diner, crafting simple yet delicious meals that brought neighbors together. Clara stayed on, her warm presence anchoring the diner as its heart. Emily found a new rhythm, balancing her renewed trucking career with an unexpected role as advocate and mentor. The little town, once weighed down by deceit, now buzzed with hope and shared purpose. One evening, as the sun set behind rolling hills, Emily stood by her polished truck, ready for the road. The path ahead was long and uncertain, but for the first time in years it felt full of promise. "Thank you," she whispered to the wind, knowing this chapter was just the beginning. The diner's neon sign flickered on, glowing softly in the twilight, a beacon for all who believe that courage and kindness can rewrite any story.